We've talked about winches, we talked about tree straps. Now we need to talk about another piece of recovery gear people should have, and that are shackles. So stay tuned, guys. Welcome back to How It Works, guys, and we have been covering things in the last couple episodes from winches and tree straps, but we need to talk about a piece of recovery gear that some people do overlook and actually is very important. That's right, I'm talking about shackles. Now, there are two different types of shackles out there. There's actually probably a few more, but you have your hard steel metal shackles that typically look kind of like a horseshoe with a screw through them that you can use to help recover yourself. And you also have things that are soft shackles that are made out of basically the same material as your winch line. If you have a synthetic line winch, that is what these are for. And we're going to get into the basics of these here in just a second, but these are highly important because it means you have an anchor point. What do I mean by anchor point? If you're in a situation where you get stuck and you need to either anchor to another vehicle, or you need to anchor to a tree strap and you just don't have enough winch cable line to reach it, or you need to anchor to a point and you don't want to damage the thing you're anchoring to, you use a shackle. And what that shackle allows is for you to have, as I was saying, an anchor point. You can hook your hook onto the shackle, or in this case, the soft shackle. You can hook it onto this, and then you can use it to pull yourself out of a situation, or somebody else if they're stuck. But let's get into a little bit of the history behind the shackle. So some history on the shackle itself. The steel shackle has been around for a very, very long time. This really has not changed. The idealism of having a metal horseshoe looking shackle with a pin that screws in, it has built our cities, it has helped recover our vehicles. It is just super well known, and you can find these literally everywhere in the world, and it is all roughly the exact same. Now, a steel shackle has its benefits. It is extremely strong. These don't typically break. You can hook these to almost any anchor point for the most part that is wide enough to fit the screw to go through. And you can put a lot of weight through these, hooked onto these shackles, and it will pull it, which is really fantastic. One of the downsides, though, is they are quite heavy. This is probably around 5 pounds, maybe a little bit more, and it is obviously steel, so if it's not in a good secured place, this can bounce around, break things, damage stuff, and if you're not careful, you can smack yourself in the finger or in the head with it. I'm not talking about experiences. I've seen people, everyone's seen stupid videos on the internet. I have seen people that have gotten whacked with these, and it doesn't end well for them. But these are super reliable, and they're generally inexpensive. Now, let's move over to our soft shackle. Now, the soft shackle hasn't been around for over 100 years. The soft shackle has actually the soft shackle has been invented since about 2010. They became more popular in about 2012 as a means of being an anchor point to recover yourself. So how does the soft shackle work? The soft shackle, like I said earlier, is just like your synthetic line. It is a synthetic line rope that has been weaved around to create a loop at one end and a knot on the other. And it is just one line. And what they did was, if we can bring in here, this is the loop at the end. You can see how they kind of webbed it through itself here so that this can be moved in and out. Then you have your knot. What this does is you can widen this hole, fit the knot through, and then close it. And what this does is it becomes a closed chain around itself. And what that closed chain does is, once this has pressure on it, it's kind of hard to demonstrate with my hands itself, but once this has pressure on it, guys, this knot is going to secure this loop to it, and it's not going to come undone. It is not going to come undone at all. And because this is synthetic line, it is extremely strong. It can actually, you can hook these up to big rigs, you can hook these up to your vehicle, and you can use this as an anchor point for other people, and these actually have a very, very high braking strength. These ones in particular that I have a 36,000 pound braking strength for a shackle. 36,000 1,000 pounds breaking strength for this shackle. It is crazy how strong they are. And one of the benefits is, once again, it's synthetic line, so if it was to snap, it's just going to fall to the ground, and whatever was hooked to it, if it was a synthetic winch line, it's just going to fall to the ground. Also, these are really light. This is like less than a pound. It's super light, super flexible. You can put these in places. You don't got to worry about things being damaged. And the other benefit of having a soft shackle is the fact that this will fit around almost any anchor point. Yes, I mean any anchor point. Now, depending on the length of your shackle, they do make some that are longer than a typical shackle. Most of them are roughly around, I don't know, 2 feet, give or take some. They do make some extra long ones that are, roughly around 3-4 feet long, so you can get them up around, axle shafts if you needed to, or you can hook this up, but you need more line because the thing's buried in the snow really deep or in the mud. They do make some of these, and they're really simple to use, so let me go ahead and show you guys how these work. Alright guys, once again, I know my head is mostly cut off, unimportant. So we're going to use this tow point on the back of the Jeep. Like all Jeep Wranglers, they have this tow point in the back for recovery purposes. Now, for a lot of people, some hooks will not fit from your winch onto this. My old winch line, the hook that was on it was too big to fit this. So we're going to start with our soft shackle. Take your soft shackle, you're going to stick it right through there. You're going to open up this, like I said, to make sure the loop's big enough. Stick your nut through, tightened, boom. There is your recovery point. You can turn it, hook up to this, and you can pull yourself out or have someone else pull you out or whatever it is. That is your soft shackle. Super easy, super simple to use, guys. And once again, to undo it, you just have to loosen it, pull it through, boom, all done. Steel shackle's a little different. Gotta first unscrew the pin, and then fit it on your anchor point. As you can see, that doesn't just magically fit down over that. You're going to have to try and find a way to get that anchor through, stick your pin through, and you either anchor off of your pin here, or you can turn it and anchor off of this. Now, I would highly suggest you anchor off of the main part here, not the pin itself. You get it? You can hook things onto it, anchor yourself, pull yourself out. Now, the one downside I have found to the steel shackle is this. Sorry guys, my knee was getting cold, the snow. The one downside I have found to using this steel shackle is very straightforward. You use it as an anchor point, it works great. It helps pull whoever it is, yourself, out of the situation. It's awesome. But what I have found is, depending on how much tension was stuck on this, whether you had it hooked here or here, this screw can become extremely hard to get undone. After my adventure on Engineer Pass, when we had to rescue the Tacoma, I actually had to use pliers and a hammer to get this screw to come loose on here, because of the tension that got through it. It just tightened up the screw so bad I could not get it to come loose without using some form of tool and smacking it to come loose. And then it came right loose, and I haven't had an issue since. But you can run into the issue to where the screw becomes so tight it doesn't want to come off. Now, on these steel shackles, a lot of people have these actually mounted on the front or the back of their vehicle. They're great little anchor points, and they always have them available. They do have some that do have rubber on here, so it helps. So if you have it permanently mounted there, it doesn't just constantly bang into your vehicle. There's some rubber there, or it also helps save the hook and things. I only really have this one, guys, because this came with the Jeep, and it was super useful before I got my soft shackles. Now, the big difference is here, they're both equally expensive at times. Soft shackles are starting to come down a little bit in price. I got mine off of Amazon, and they came in a 2-pack for like $30, which isn't really that bad if you think about it. But in terms of like this, I could have gotten this on Amazon for like 15 bucks. So soft shackles somewhat are double the price at times, but they are worth it because they do work a lot better at having a better anchor point for laces. Now those are both extremely useful as a recovery point or as a tow point for a lot of different things, whether you're recovering yourself or somebody else. Now out of the two, I prefer the soft shackle, and it's not because it's lighter or simpler to use. I like it because one, it is super strong, and two, I have the ability to hook this to all sorts of areas on my Jeep that the hard steel shackle I cannot. So if for whatever reason the tow in the back isn't going to work because it got damaged, or one of the hooks in the front of the Jeep isn't going to work, if I needed to, I can stick this around my axle tubes and make this the anchor point for a winch line to hook onto to pull me out of a situation. Or I can put this around someone else's axle, or if they have a tail hitch that I can slip this through and knot it, you know, stick it through. There's my anchor point, and it is just extremely strong and a lot safer. That is my other thing, is this is so much safer than the steel shackle. Now, it takes a lot of power to break a steel shackle, don't get me wrong, but if it does break, you better hope you have a synthetic line on it, because that shackle can come flying back depending on how it broke. Where this, once again, this is just going to drop to the floor and be done. But that is why I like my soft shackles. But those are the two shackles, guys. There are a few other variants of shackles out there, but for the most part, they are either a form of steel shackle or a form of soft shackle. And they all vary in size and strengths. You can get soft shackles that have a much higher braking strength. You can get steel shackles that are huge and have a massive braking strength. It just depends, but for the most part, guys, you don't need something too crazy on your rig. Something that can handle the weight of what you need and fits your needs, honestly, guys. That is why I have both. Like I said, the one came with the Jeep, but I got the soft shackles because it fit my needs more than the steel shackle does. The steel shackle only has so many places I can put it. That soft shackle, I can put it in so many different places and have more anchor points for what I need. But thank you all for joining me today. I hope you guys once again found this information helpful. If you haven't already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, guys. You guys are what makes this channel happen, and I have a goal of 2,000 subscribers that I think we can hit before the end of the year. So go ahead, hit that button. Also, a link is in the description below for my other social media accounts, as well as links to a list of parts that I use on my Jeep that you guys have access to. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll catch you all next time.